Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, lived a handsome prince. He was attended by devoted servants.
Do you think perhaps just once I might use the bathroom by myself?
Most amusing, sir.
Wipers!
And engaged by royal decree.
Why? Why can't I find my own wife?
We've gone to a great deal of trouble to select for you a very fine wife.
I want a woman that's going to arouse my intellect as well as my loins.
Where will you find such a woman?
In America.
So he traveled across the sea to the land of opportunity, which is where the fairy tale ends and our story begins.
Behold, Simmy, life, real life, a thing that we have been denied for far too long.
We're in New York now. Let us dress as New Yorkers. I feel like a complete idiot.
Have either of you ever had any fast food work experience before?
Certainly not. This will be our first job in the United States. I am Akeem.
It's nice to meet you, Akeem.
I have recently been placed in charge of garbage.
That's good to know.
Oh my goodness, it is you! Greetings, Your Highness!
Who was that?
Eddie Murphy,
Just the man I met in the restroom.
Arsenio Hall, in a comedy fable of royal romance.
When I look at these contestants for the Miss Black Awareness pageant, I feel good.
Apparently, these are the best women Queens has to offer. Pick one and let's go home.
I want to tear you apart. And your friend, too.
Coming to America.
Sir, I was wondering, did you happen to catch the professional football contest on television last night?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it was most exhilarating. The Giants of New York took on the Packers of Green Bay. And in the end, the Giants triumphed by kicking an oblong ball made of pigskin to a big H. It was a most ripping victory.
Son,
Yes.
you want to keep working here. Stay off the drugs.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages who should not be listening to this podcast because it's R-rated.
Nope, not all ages.
Just like this movie we are just watching, about to talk about. Coming to America, the world penis is clean. Tune in, RB2, Reels, Booze, and Bros. I'm your host, Jay, with my other host, Brian, my other host, Nick. What's up, guys? How's it going?
Just fucking great.
Ah.
And we're no longer for all ages.
No, there should be like a disclaimer, like when you go to the movies, you have to be 17 to listen to this podcast.
You have to be
17.
whatever age your parents will allow you to be to listen to this podcast.
If they buy you a movie ticket and let you go in, then you're fine.
Sounds good. All right. As you notice, we'll be doing Coming to America. Our previous podcast was Ghostbusters of 1984, the original, the OG. That was on our last episode. I hope you check that out. You can find us on anything that has a podcast like Spotify, iTunes, Anchor is where we upload it to. You can check us out on our social media. Right now, all we is on is the Twitter, RB2 Podcast, at RB2 Podcast. And, yeah, that's about it. So Coming to America, we'll be talking about tonight, ladies and gentlemen. What we have tonight for the booze is, Brian, I brought this. It is 4057 from Jug Handle Brewing Company, a local brewery, Tinton Falls, New Jersey. What do you guys think about it? Brian, I'll let you go first. Your thoughts of this beer.
To be honest with you, I think it's pretty solid. It's I haven't had Jug Handle in a little while, but as we were saying a little bit earlier, that they have definitely stepped up their game in quality of beers.
They have. This is my first time having it, so it's very good. So, Nick, what do you think?
I second Brian's opinion on them stepping up their quality of beers. I mean, they were always solid, but they're definitely picking it up, and I just want to talk to the non-Jersey people on what Jug Handle Brewing is about. There's this little thing on the road. We don't make left turns in Jersey.
No,
There's this little thing on the road called a jug handle that we take to get off. You make a little right, get onto a side road, make a left on there, and then you cross over that main road you were trying to go on. So in case you're just wondering, like, what's the significance of Jug Handle, now you know it's one of our many unique things about Jersey that make us so great.
Yeah, you might want to just Google that and look at a YouTube video of what an actual jug handle is. All right, now bringing it back to the reels, the movie here, Coming to America. So here's a little background information for you folks out there. So the movie is a 1988 American romantic comedy filmed by director John Landis and based on a story originally created by Eddie Murphy, who is also the star of this movie, the lead role. The film also stars Arsenio Hall, James Earl Jones, Sherry Headley, and John Amos. The first installment of Coming to America film series. Ooh, more about that later. It was released in the United States on June 29th, 1988. Eddie Murphy plays Akeem Jaffer, the crown prince of the fictional African nation of Zamunda. Zamunda, which I like to think it is a prequel to Wakanda. That's just my opinion.
It's a good opinion. I like
So Akeem Jaffer travels to the United States in hopes of finding a woman he can marry. The film debuted #1 with... Anyone want to guess how much I think? Brian, what do you think? You're pretty smart at this, with the numbers and stuff.
Are we just talking opening just one day, or are we talking for the whole weekend?
Let's just do, you know what, for the opening day, then let's go do 5-day total.
This was a 4th of July release, right?
I believe
right around
so.
There?
Yeah, right around there.
So you got a couple extra days. I'll go first day, probably like 8 million, and then somewhere around the 24 million range for the opening weekend.
Close. It was about 21 million for it debuted at, and a 5-day total of 28 million.
So day one was 21. I want to understand that correctly. And the next 4 days was only 7 million.
About, yeah. So I got off the little internet of the research. It says right there. So debut number one with 21 million for a 5-day total of 28 million. Because everyone saw it then and there, and they might have, it's holiday weekend. They had plans.
True, I didn't think about that.
But the film made a total of 128 million in the United States and ended up worldwide with a total of... Nick, what do you think?
I mean, in 5 days, they made was that the 5 days for the world was 28 million?
Negative. That was just for the United States.
All right. So taking into factor that strong decrease and it continuing, I'm going to say like maybe 250 worldwide.
250? All right. Very close. 288.752.301. $208,752,301. Very nice. And the film was nominated for 2 Oscars. Best Costume Design and Best Makeup. Brian?
Which it shows in the movie. Obviously, you've probably all seen this movie, so that's why you'd be listening. But yeah, they were definitely way ahead of it, and I wouldn't even be surprised if watching Black Panther, they took some inspiration from this movie itself.
Yeah. Yeah, with nice the travel things. All right, so that's a little background information. Anyone else want to add any background information on for the movie? Brian, Nick, anything you want to add to?
Usually I'm pretty good with some of this little background trivia stuff, but I have more trivia for later on, so
okay.
I think we'll save that.
We'll save that for a little BTS behind the
actually
scenes.
do have some personal background on Coming to America.
Oh, hey now.
I was not one of the ones who saw it in the theater, so though I did see another Eddie Murphy movie in the theater. That was Beverly Hills Cop 1. Yep, thank you to the great aunt and uncle who brought, a 5 and a 6-year-old to that. But, anyways, I actually saw this one night at my grandmother's house. And I think it was 90 on HBO. It was a late night. Grandma thought we were sleeping. We'd sleep in the same room where she'd watch the shows. And, through the closed, squinted eyes I caught some of this movie until she caught me and
sleeping.
beat the no, none of that. No, this is PC times where she threatened to take away my candy, so I went back to sleep and she turned it off.
Nice, very nice.
I see. All right, now they got that all out of our systems. What do you think? Let's get some reviews going. What do you guys think? Your thoughts on this movie? I'll toss it over to you, Brian. Your thoughts on the?
For me, this is probably one of my favorite comedies, especially from the '80s. I mean, Eddie Murphy is at the height of his career, so he is on top of the world with everything that he's doing right there. So
that is true.
I mean, I'm laughing my ass off this whole entire movie. I mean, for me, if I'm scoring out of a 10, I'm probably going just on comedic value, 8.5.
Oh,
I mean,
very high, very high.
It's one of my favorite comedies. I love this movie.
It is.
And you could just quote it all day long. So.
That's true. I see, Nick. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very quotable movie. I agree with you on that, Brian. I thought it was a great cast. It was during Eddie Murphy's Midas touch period where, everything he touched turned to gold. These actors, they all have those Midas touch where it doesn't matter what they do, it's gold.
Yeah, there's
right?
stints
like
of
everyone,
time.
you kind of look at it, and I mean, it's a little off topic, but it's like you kind of get like a 4 or 5 year run, and this is his 4 or 5 year run. This is coming towards the end of it, but
They had a bunch of good moves in there. Beverly Hills Cop was at the start of it, and then he had what was the one with the child?
Golden Child.
Golden Child. I love that one.
Yeah, he had 48 hours.
What was it? Harlem Nights was like towards the end of that peak, right?
Yeah. So like 85 to 90, like he was.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still coming off the end of Saturday Night Live and his comedy. So like he was, like I said, he was.
Yeah, pretty much
arguably the
number
biggest
one
star in the world.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. At that time frame, Eddie Murphy, there is no one else. You could put him in a movie that was just golden. He could do it. And for me, I love this movie. I honestly forgot how much of there was romance in there. Like one of the first like romantic comedies I ever watched. Like at a young age, I didn't understand the romantic part. Yeah, I guess trying to find his wife.
To be loved.
Like yeah, I think I watched that before the Princess Bride, but I just laughed my ass off, and a lot of my favorite scenes were the barbershop scenes. I don't know why, but I felt like those are probably one of the funniest scenes. Though there were other ones going on, and we will talk about that as we get into the to our little favorite scenes, quotes, and awards later on for the movie. Now let's head on over to the what the critics thought of it. You got our reviews, what we think. We're gonna go to let's see, Rotten Tomatoes. The tomato meter gave it a 65%, but the audience score was 85%. So obviously,
yeah, right along with me. Holla.
They gave it a nice B, closer to B plus on the side. IMDb gave it a 7.0 out of 10, and the Metacritic, the critics out of 100 critics, they gave it a 47 out of 100, but the user score was an 8.4 out of 10. So obviously, from these ratings, critics, what they want to say, is that the audience knows what they want. You can tell by the numbers, and the critics are just goddamn morons. Am I right? What do you think?
Probably. I mean, once again, if you don't like Eddie Murphy's comedy, you're not going to like the movie. So that's basically how it's going to go. They're just going to go into it like, I'm not a fan of his comedy, and that's basically what they're doing. They're already shooting it down before. So.
Yeah, not giving it a shot. Right, Nick? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't really love critics. I kind of, I go with the Roger and Ebert rating of 2 thumbs down when it comes to critics because I feel like they're too analytical on what we're watching.
You know, like the Damon Wayans. What was it? 2 snaps.
Hated it. 2 snaps.
Yep.
Men on film.
Yep. So
Classic.
We're gonna have to
sometimes
add that
you just need a movie that's just no thought and you just want to laugh. And Coming to America is definitely one of those.
Yeah, without a doubt, it is. All right.
It's a simple story, but it's great.
It is a very simple story. All right, and on that note, we'll take a quick little break. We'll be coming back with some of our favorite scenes and quotes. So hang on. Welcome to McDowell's. Might take your order, please. And we are back with Coming to America. So, short break. I'm going to talk about our favorite scenes. Hey, who wants to lead off? I want to say, let's go, Nick. What do you think this time? Your favorite scenes in this entire movie?
I mean, there's just a ton of scenes to pick from in this movie. It's really is a great one. But, for me, one of the scenes that really early on got to me was the scene when they're just coming into America. It's Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall, and they're
right off the
wearing all of their king and their prince and high fashion, high money outfits, and they're talking to each other about how they got to keep a low profile and they can't let people know how much money
we
they
are
have.
Normal African students.
Exactly. And then as they're saying this, and everybody's staring at them, and you think that it's just because of the clothes that they're wearing, right? All of a sudden, the camera starts tailing behind them, and you see person after person after person carrying luggage after luggage luggage after luggage behind them, and you're like, how do these guys think that they're keeping a low profile?
As he stops for the taxi, halt in the middle.
Halt.
Yes, that's very poor. I see. I have to agree with that. That's a very good set.
That sets up like who they are, and it just shows like how naive they are coming to New York because they don't know anything. So that just shows you like who they are, and it's a great way to set up like their characters, and just like everything is new to them here.
Right.
So that part is great on itself,
I totally agree. What airport do you think they flew into? Like,
probably had to be LaGuardia.
LaGuardia. That's probably close enough to Queens, right? JFK.
I was gonna say. I think JFK is
JFK
closer to Queens.
Yeah, I think it would be too as well.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway,
I don't know.
I digress. Anything else, Nick?
Geography's not really my thing. I was told there was going to be no geography in this.
I know. A little trivia for there. Bump it up. So, what else, Nick? You think any other scenes you might think that you enjoy besides that one?
Yeah, I've got a couple of others. For me, the Black Awareness pageant is definitely one of mine. Yeah, that is just like an unbelievable scene, and it's a scene that's unbelievable for many perspectives. So one is the quotes that are in it. Another is the fact that you have to understand that Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall play multiple characters in this scene. They play 3 different characters. So they filmed this scene 3 different times and patched it all together.
Oh, minimum 3 times.
Right. Well, I mean,
yeah.
The costumes, 3 different costumes. Yeah. So and then all the cuts that come with that. But I mean, like that. So that also makes it like that much better, and you appreciate it that much more. And I loved it. Just absolutely loved it.
But once again, like you're saying, there's quotes upon quotes in that whole scene, and I mean, listen, for me, and I'll throw it out there right now, but we're gonna put it in for a nominee for like best quotes in there. I mean, Randy Watson, and basically him just Mr. Randy Watson. Like literally, his whole thing is like quote worthy, like just sexual chocolate, and he's singing "We Are the World," right? Or no.
I believe the children are our future. Yeah.
Like, come on, really? That song is your choice? But hey, it's phenomenal, and I honestly think he did the first mic drop ever recorded. I don't think anyone has ever done it until then.
Yeah, I don't even remember a mic drop relatively soon after that. Yeah. To be quite honest.
No. But now all of a sudden it's a huge thing. But you could thank Mr. Randy Watson for the mic drop.
Yeah, we have to go to the old internet to figure that out. But yeah, Randy Watson did. If you guys don't know, remember it. Randy Watson was the lead singer of the band. Do you remember what the name of the band was called?
Oh, I think we all know the name of that band.
Who would like to elaborate on the name of that band that Randy Watson was the lead singer of?
Was Sexual Chocolate.
Yeah. Sexual Chocolate!
I know.
It just messing me up. I was like, nah.
I was trying to mention it. Yeah, the fact the amount of quotes that are in there.
So good. But like once again,
God damn, that boy
that
can
whole
sing.
Point, what Nick is saying in that scene, like when they're like, it just shows like who the boyfriend Daryl is and how he's not about what everything's happening in this Black Awareness Project is, and Eddie Murphy's character Prince Akeem is just like, hey, I'm this guy, I got a ton of money, but I don't put it out there, and I'm trying to help and do all this sort of stuff, and they show you the difference between the two, and then at the same time all the other characters that they're playing and bringing up the passing the collection basket, and the one guy thinks it's a chicken waste basket.
I thought it was a garbage.
But I mean, like, who thinks of that?
Yeah.
Like, it's just so
great.
funny.
It's just great.
In between.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, sure. When did they get chicken wings? Is that like one of the things that they're serving out there?
No.
Like, you would think you have like popcorn and some soda or something like that.
But they were
maybe McDowell's serves chicken wings.
That's true. Yeah, because it was
McDonald's.
McDonald's. So McDonald's has chicken wings. Does McDonald's have chicken wings?
Negative. I think the closest thing that they've come to that is the recent Buffalo.
Yeah, but that's recent. We're talking about the 80s, though. You think they had chicken wings in the 80s? I don't know. That's an interesting fact we might have to look up at one time. Anyone else in the audience wants to look it up, go right ahead. All
Either
right.
way, that's great.
So any other thing else, Nick, or I'm going to toss it to Brian? Because Brian seems to be harping on this one scene. He might have some other scenes in the movie that he might like. Brian, what do you think?
All right, well, I'm going to hit you with the first scene, one of the first opening scenes. I'm going to go with the Queen to Be as one of my favorite scenes because it sets up Zamunda on how everything is and how Prince Akeem is and how the father is. It just shows you the power that he has where he literally stops the whole party to talk to his son and he's just let them wait. So he just hangs out with his son and he could just do whatever he wants. He's the king. He throws his power around.
Throwing his weight around just a little bit.
Pretty much. But at the same time, like, you have that dance sequence in there, which is phenomenal. And this will be an interesting fact for it. But that is also an high-tempo version of the Thriller dance.
Ooh, a little BTS early. Okay. So,
I mean, it's phenomenal. And it just shows you, like, the beauty of what they have in that country. That's... I just like it for that. There's some funny things in there with the, can you bark like a dog? Bark like a big dog.
I see the two of you are getting along.
Like that. Like I think that's great. I like the scene more for the beauty to see exactly what Zamunda is and the relationship with the father and the son in that part. Once again, funny. The movie is funny the entire time, but that's why I like that opening scene. Another one, and I'm just gonna lump them all together because they're not terribly long scenes, but every single barbershop scene is hysterical.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
is hysterical, and literally, the best quotes come from the barbershop scenes, hands down.
I have to totally agree with you on that one.
And literally, we could just nominate all of them for barbershop quotes as these are the best quotes in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
You never met Martin Luther the King. That's beautiful. What is that, velvet?
Oh, man. Who's going to pick up all these rose petals?
Yeah. That'd be $8.
Yeah, $8 for cutting the rat's tail off. I can tell you, for me, I totally agree with you, but one of my favorite parts, it's probably closer to a quote, but when the king's assistant, he starts singing this song of the introduction of the Queen to Be. He kind of sounds somewhat off key, or he kind of singing kind of well. I'm not sure, but when he gets to one specific line in it, where he's just like, "And she's clean from infection." I had to rewind and rewatch that because I couldn't stop laughing. I'm like, there's no way he said that. And my young self, when I watched this the first time, never ever caught on to that. But this time, I caught on to it, and I could not stop watching, laughing. I'm like, clean from it. Yeah, the pandemic. Yeah, what pandemic they have? Was it
It was AIDS.
Yeah, it was AIDS at the time. And now we have the coronavirus, so can it relate to what's going on now? She's clean from infection. But I thoroughly enjoyed the singing part. And my next scene would have to be, so a little further after Nick, when he said from the airport, is when they actually get to first place. And they go to the most rundown place in Queens. And they get into the apartment buildings. And they speak with the building manager of it, and I just couldn't stop laughing as the guys who owes rent just falls down like 3 flights of stairs, and he starts like shouting at him. He's like, and then to the fact that they go to the room and there's crime scene tape.
You're not even gonna say the whole line.
You know what? Because I feel like
your rent is due.
I'm not falling down the stairs with this bullshit. Your rent's due, motherfucker.
Because I feel like that's like a quote, and it's like part of everyone's lives as of right now. Everyone's rent is due at this time, and everyone's trying to find.
You boys came in on a different boat.
And then as they get into the room. And then they see like the chalk outlines of a person and a dog, and then
Damn shame what they did to that dog. And there's only one window to a wall.
Yeah.
And the manager just turns around and goes, I used to rent it to a blind guy. And they had to share a bathroom
on the floor. Yeah.
Well, for the inside, I don't know. I wonder how many apartment floors are on it. And then at the
got a little bit of an insect problem, but I think you boys from Africa are okay with that.
And just to top it off, at the end of it is when Eddie Murphy's like, they'll take the apartment. He jumps out on the balcony. He starts shouting how happy he is. And then someone's like, hey, fuck you, buddy. And Eddie Murphy, Prince Akeem is like, yeah, fuck you too. It's such a happy voice. And then again, I have to agree with you, Brian, on every barbershop scene. If we can lump them all together, maybe just like.
I think you have to.
Yeah, like
that's the only way.
Yeah. If I could spend like a movie with just them, those three characters in the barbershop, oh, man. That should be like the original barbershop movie. Anyway, so
listen, I got two quick ads in here for.
All right, go ahead.
For scenes, one is literally like 30 seconds, and it's the Soul Glow commercial. Like, it's so goddamn catchy, and I love it. It's just a guy with a Jerry Cole just swaying his head back and forth, and that song just comes in, just let your soul glow, and that's it. And it's phenomenal. Oh, listen, I'm a little hoarse right now, so we don't want to talk about it. But hey,
sounds just like the commercial.
But it is hands down phenomenal.
Yeah, you have to agree. When you think of Coming to America, that's probably one of the things you totally you think of.
Without a doubt.
Is that commercial?
Oh, 100%. Soul Glow is definitely one of the things you think of.
And then I also love the robbery scene.
Yes.
Where
Samuel L. Jackson
makes his nice little cameo in there.
Yes.
Who the fuck is this asshole?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, once again, you have that dynamic with Eddie Murphy and the boyfriend, Daryl, Eric LaSalle. Like, they're two characters, like, Eric LaSalle don't do shit.
Right.
Eddie Murphy.
Doesn't LaSalle, like, run and hide?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
He's like, man, I would have helped, but, I had coffee.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Daryl.
Like, they set it up that way, and it's just like, Eddie Murphy, he's royalty. He should be the one hiding, but he's the one saving the day.
No,
and it just shows how the type of person he is.
Yeah, Daryl's a fucking peck.
Daryl's not a winner, but he's got money.
That's it.
So hey,
he got that Soul Glow money. We see. All right, so we got that for scenes. What do you guys think now? Let's move on to quotes. There we go. I know we tried to keep as much, between the scenes talking about these quotes, but let's hash them out. All right, Brian, since you need to be a little.
We went right from the beginning of the movie. The royal penis is clean. Literally, it's like in the first minute and a half of the movie, he's getting a bath. It's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All the servants are bathing him. 21 years old.
Yep.
Another classic that I love is from the basketball scene. Yes, in the face. It's my most favorite part of the game.
This is the halftime.
Yeah. I didn't mention this earlier, but from the barbershop, is Mama call him Clay? I'm going to call him Clay.
I want to say, and Clay, was that
Joe
not,
Louis, 137 years old.
Clay.
Yeah.
You're talking about?
That's right.
Muhammad Ali.
Uh-huh.
Let's see what else we got here. Let's go with the if loving the Lord is wrong, then I don't want to be right. Classic Akeem. When you think of garbage, think of Akeem.
That was when he's trying to hit on the boss's daughter right there. The true love of his life in there, and she's inside his office doing her paperwork. He's trying to find any sort of conversation to talk with her. I got you. I like that.
Then let's go with see, they're McDowell's. They're McDonald's. I'm McDowell's. They got the golden arches. Mine is the golden arcs.
Total ripoff.
Their buns have seeds.
Yeah.
My buns don't.
2 patties, secret sauce.
Yeah. Another one is when I don't have it like word for word, but when Louis Anderson is giving his little speech, see, I started off just like you guys. I was mopping and washing lettuce, you know.
Now I'm washing lettuce.
Yeah, soon
Yeah.
I'll be on fries. Next, the grill. Then after that, assistant manager.
Oh man.
And that's when the big gucks come in.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
How long will that take? Just 2 years. Oh, just 2 years. Huh?
Yo, he got goals. Yeah, I give it to him.
Yeah. No, listen. Hey, back in that time frame, people would have been like, "That's a good job to have."
Yep.
You know, it's still not a bad job to have. And I'll give you with one more, and this comes from the basketball scene, and this is when Daryl's talking to Akeem. He's like, "Wearing clothes must be a new experience for you, huh?"
That fucking Peck coming out with that. So, Nick, what do you think? Brian threw a bunch out there. I'm like, probably several.
So I think I'm gonna. We've covered a lot of the beginning ones, but one that we missed early on that we talked. Jay, you talked about one of your favorite scenes was when they went into the apartment. But for me, like that scene started right before when the cab like stops, skids to a stop, and the cab driver looks behind and says, "Is this place shitty enough for you?" So then they're like, yeah. So they unload everything, and the guys go into the apartment building, and then you see out from the front window all the luggage on the street and everybody coming up to the street. So for me, that kind of set the tone of how shitty this place is going to be, because you know the cab driver says it's shitty. People are stealing their luggage right on the street right in front of them, you know. So to me, I was like dying. I'm like, this is great.
Everybody then is wearing their clothes because it's the middle of winter.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, you want to buy some toothbrushes over here? Some high quality shit.
Some high quality toiletries.
Everything's all gold and fantastic. It's so good.
Yep. I think another quote for me is when the old Jewish guy is talking to the barbers, and he says, "You guys are the three putzes. The name should be outside, the three putzes." That one had me going. And then going back to my one of my favorite scenes, the Black Awareness pageant, the scene with the line where the Reverend, I don't know, most people probably don't catch this, you got to watch it again, but when the Reverend's up there singing about the girls at the pageant, he says this one line. He's talking about Hugh Hefner and the other big guy, the hustler guy, and he's singing about them, and he says, They can take the pictures, but they can't make it. I was just dying. Like that had me. Like that. You had to play the one scene over with the guy singing. I had to go back, and I was like, did he really just say that? I had to play that again.
I can see. I get this both the singing parts is when we're like, oh, it's a good tune. You're like, wait a minute, wait a fucking minute. Let's rewind this song back a second.
So there was also one McDowell scene that with a quote that we didn't talk about, and it was when Akeem's over talking to Mr. McDowell, and he's trying to get in his good graces talking about football, and he's totally butchering the sport. And Mr. McDowell looks over at him, and he says, let me get it, I got it written down because I want to make sure I get this right. He's like, son, I got to tell you something. You want to keep working here? Stay off the drugs.
They kicked an oblong ball.
To a big H.
To a big H.
But he's so happy.
It was quite exhilarating.
He's so happy telling this story about what's going on. He's just smiling the whole time. And after that, he just goes, okay. And then just walks away. Continues mopping.
Which brings me back to like that quick 30-second. Have you ever mopped before? He just has the mop inside the bucket. He's just wishing around. Like he's like, okay.
Yeah, it's good, right?
It's good.
Try it without the bucket. It might be a little easier.
Oh my God, this stuff's coming back to me. I have to agree with both of you guys. A lot of these things are. Here's something in the beginning that you guys probably didn't recognize or even remember. Was I thoroughly enjoyed this quote. It was when Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall were training, and they're about to fight with the sticks. And Arsenio goes to Eddie. He goes, "Now let's see if you can defend yourself. You sweat from a baboon's balls." That's right. I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? I was like, this is great. Another one I had to rewind and listen to again. And say, yep, that's a quote I like. I want to try to use that. I don't know when or how it's gonna happen, but I'll see what I can do. All right. Seems like we've got a bunch of them going on right now. So what do you guys think? Let's go with best quote, I think. The most memorable one. What can translate to now at times? I don't know.
Whoa.
It's tough. It's tough. There's a lot of nominees we threw back and
Man,
forth with each
there are
other.
so many, and we use on a regular basis from this movie. Man, it's gonna be tough. I mean, for me, man, I'm stuck between like "Let Your Soul Glow" and "Sexual Chocolate."
Those are two very memorable quotes throughout
yeah,
the movie.
like it's just so great. I love them.
They do, because when you say "Coming to America," you think Soul Glow.
Yeah.
Like I want to go buy that product. I don't even have the hair to do it, but I definitely want to buy that product to see if my hair can do it. In "Sexual Chocolate," Randy Watson, just him stamping his feet.
Sexy chocolate!
Damn, that boy can sing.
You must be crazy.
He good.
You must be crazy.
But even then, like when the Reverend introduces him, the way he goes, and it's just, and Mr. Randy Watson is phenomenal. And once again, it's
He good. He good.
Yeah, he's good and terrible. But yeah, it's something like we use on a regular basis, like between us and all our friends, man. It's just, man, it's tough to limit it to just one. But if I had to go, I'm probably gonna go "Sexual Chocolate."
Okay, I say, Nick, what do you think?
That's a strong play, and it probably would have been my number one previous to watching it again recently. But that Reverend line, it really got me, man. That, talking about, God and how great he is, and that he, taking it into this totally sexual thing of he's so great, he's given us these beautiful women, and that, these Playboy and Hustler magazines, they could take the photos, but they can't make it, to me, that took the cake for me. I don't know. I couldn't. That's what I'm gonna go with.
You go with it? Oh man, this is tough. That's tough. I do enjoy both, but for me, I guess I'm gonna have to go with "Sexual Chocolate," because I feel I can use that, and it's been used throughout many times. I can't. There's so many incidents I can just bring it up, and "Sexual Chocolate" is just exactly what it has to be for me. I picture it even in the same way as Randy Watson does it, stomping my feet on the ground.
Yeah, because that's all. Every time you hear the quote, that's all. The first thing you think of is him stomping his feet. Just "Sexual Chocolate." Like, how could you not love the guy's in it? The guy's in the movie for 3 minutes, and he's arguably the best part of the whole movie.
That's tough. But you know what?
That's what you talk
and he
about.
I am
produces
flabbergasted on that.
That's what you
I have to
call.
agree.
He's a definition
the quote unquote first mic drop. He produced that, so I mean that.
Like, arguably, he's the greatest scene stealer of all time.
It could be. That quick little 30-second. Oh, not a little longer than that. Like a little minute and a half, 90-second song, and then dropping the mic and explaining "Sexual Chocolate." Okay, let's move. Let's move on to for scene. Let's go for best scene. You think you nominate that as the best scene?
Yeah. That's got to be my. That's
straight.
Like
don't even bother. That's it.
Yeah, I can't even. I want to say barbershops, but it's tough because you can't just the barbershops together.
Yes.
Would beat out that one scene, but the barbershop scenes, there's too many little ones to just count.
So is it just the entire Black awareness scene, or is it just actually Randy Watson doing his thing scene?
No, I'm gonna have to say the whole Black awareness pageant, just because it's only 5 minutes long, but it sets up a lot of stuff between Daryl and Akeem. And him trying to get closer to the love of his life, and then there's Randy Watson, and that's all that matters. In that scene,
out of left field comes Randy Watson.
Randy Watson throwing 105 miles an hour, throwing heat the whole time.
Yeah, nonstop. He's 0-60 and lives his life at a quarter mile at a time. We say that. Nick,
the guy's Mariano Rivera closing out Game 7 on 9 pitches and not all straight, all strikes. He's just fucking.
Firing bullets.
I see. Brian has me kind of sold on this. Nick, I think that's one of your favorite scenes. Well, can you think anything better than the Black awareness?
The black awareness, that's a definitely a strong scene for me. But the barbershop scene when they're talking about Rocky Marciano and Joe Louis, I mean, that just
beat Joe Lewis's
that just takes the cake for me. You know, young Cuba Gooding Jr. getting his start, not able to utter a single word in the scene because he's just overpowered by just all the.
Yeah, he's just laughing.
Yep.
I don't blame him.
Yep, you put me in that seat and I'm doing the same thing. Because it was just a great scene. It's such a great scene that an up-and-comer like Cuba Gooding Jr. didn't even need a line in it to make it great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd say, you know what, but I think I have to side on with the black awareness because my vote is going there. Brian, you talked me up. You got me. Randy Watson, there it is. I think we have to start naming him from here on out, maybe the best character in a movie is going to be the Randy Watson Award as best character.
Listen,
what do you think?
That's a strong statement, and I like it. It's either going to be best character or maybe best scene stealer.
Okay. All right. It can go back and forth because I tell you what, for best character for me in this movie is not Randy Watson, but after your testimony over here, it's starting to sway a good portion.
It is. I mean, because like I said, he's throwing heat the whole time, but his screen time is maybe 2 minutes. So it's tough to make him the best character in the whole movie. Like, I think realistically, you're gonna have to go with Eddie Murphy as Prince Akeem. Like,
hard to fight that one.
It's hard to fight, right, Nick? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to fight with Eddie Murphy as Akeem.
He was so good.
Yeah, he really was the show. It's hard for me to envision that role going to anyone
I
else and still be in.
I will tell you this: Arsenio Hall was phenomenal to stand toe to toe with him and not be like outdone.
Right.
Yes.
He was right there.
Yep.
Quick-witted.
Both as the main character and all the supporting characters. The Reverend, that was the supporting character. That was great. The barbershop guy with the chicken wing putting it in the basket. I
thought it was the garbage.
Yeah.
He was there toe to toe for him. Like, they went 12 rounds together.
The tranny at the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think? It was like a 10-9, how they scored the card?
It went decision. It was probably like, we're going 12 rounds. It was probably like 115, 114. Like, they were like, it was close.
That close.
Wow, that's impressive.
That's impressive.
I'm telling you, Arsenio Hall was right there with them.
So, I say, well, what was the best Arsenio Hall character, you think? That his little, out of one of them. What do you think, Nick? What do you think his best character he was? The Reverend, you seem to like.
I love the Reverend. Yeah. It's hard for me. I mean, Brian's right. He was toe to toe with him even as the secondary character. But that Reverend, that scene,
it's got to be the Reverend.
hits me right in the special places.
But even when they're at the party later on, and he's like, "I'm gonna pray for y'all." You two gonna have a special union. I'm gonna pray for y'all. That's the way he is. He was 100 the whole time.
Yeah.
He was throwing gas as well.
Yep.
But he was just like.
I have to say my favorite Arsenio character was the one inside the bar, where he's sitting next to.
What's with your friends?
Yeah.
I've been staring at you all night long.
Dressed as the easy woman at the bar. And then oh, man. That's a little R-rated there for you boys and girls. So I'll make you rewatch that one.
That was a solid one right there, too.
Okay. So I see. So what come to decision? I guess it's Eddie Murphy, right? They'll come to as the best character of this movie.
Yeah, as best character in the movie, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he was the lead. What got me was that Eddie Murphy, because how funny he is, and like a lot of his humor is like, this is a totally different like Eddie Murphy humor, a little more serious, and not as much as like kind of like playful as he usually is in his stand up and his SNL and his previous movies. It's just that, you really believe that he's a prince from a foreign country, and he's like new to the world of New York City. So and he brought it. Like that's why he's number one at this time frame. So yeah, Eddie Murphy, Prince Akeem. Yeah,
but it's funny.
Number one character.
And all this, we didn't even mention. Like, I know he's not going to be the best character in the movie, but for someone who did a great job, was like John Amos, which was Cleo McDowell. Like, he was really good.
Yeah.
In his role, like
Agreed. played a really good.
Yeah.
He played a really good.
He played a good dad.
Right,
Oh,
good dad,
phenomenal
absolutely. The scene with the king, threatening to, what is it, break his foot off up in the king's royal's ass,
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to pay him off $2 million.
Yeah.
Like he was,
Yep.
like he was good. Like he felt like a real concerned father at certain points, and he was just like
Small business owner trying to promote the business at all costs, even at
That's
Black
right.
Awareness badge.
Yeah, that's right.
so.
Give him the address. Give him the address.
Support local
he was,
business.
He was great. Like I mean, he obviously he's not going to be in the Eddie category, but I mean, he was another one that we haven't really mentioned. But without him in this movie, it's not as successful because he did a really, really great job.
No, I totally agree with that. As a father myself, how Nick is, Brian, as a godfather, you can agree. We do anything for our kids, and he did what he wanted to. Though, yeah, at times, we want. Seemed like he was all about the money, but the fact is, he wanted a better life for his children, which we all want, a better life for our children. So he worked hard, and he said he'll break his foot off in the king's ass just because he tried to buy out his family away from the king. So yeah, good for him. And on that, so I guess we got best character. Let's go for worst character. I like to nominate worst character to change that name to the Adrian Balboa. I know Brian and I talked about this. We included Nick when he came back down from a little debacle he had with his child not going to sleep. Was that Adrian Balboa, out of all the movies we watched, is probably one of the worst characters I've ever seen in a movie. She's very unsupporting, unloving, a complete, way worse.
Piece of shit.
Yeah, way worse than a peck. And we like to name her as probably the worst character. So the Adrian Balboa Award is going to be this. Who do we think the Adrian Balboa Award goes to?
Oof. I guess it's really gonna have to go to Daryl. Like, it's not saying Eric LaSalle was bad as the choice of the guy. It was just he was just a bad dude. Like there's nothing to like about this guy. And that's like in the end he's doing a good job in his role, but the fact is like. Just the character itself is like I despise this guy.
Yeah, well, then he did his job. If you hate the guy,
I know, but I can still hate the character.
Oh no! Without him, the characters you can't have the movie. We have to go with someone else, like the worst character in the movie. Who else? What would be there? Who do you think? Like the? I think it's pretty hard to tell. Maybe it was like the guy who fell down the stairs. Like motherfucker, just trying to avoid rent. I don't know. Maybe the Rose Petal guys who were there. So,
they weren't guys.
I'm sorry. The Rose Petal girls that were thrown there.
No, those are definitely staying. Without a doubt.
I mean, who's going to clean the royal penis?
Yeah.
they're in 10 times over. Everyone else could be replaced.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one, especially in a movie like this that's loaded with people. I know that in previous conversations, the sister has been up for discussion for this.
Yeah,
but I loved her character. I thought she did a really great job as being the sister who's jealous of the other sister, and she had a couple of great things, like when she's trying to, at the basketball game, looks like trying to give Prince Akeem a little handy.
An old fashioned.
Not trying, she was.
Yeah,
a little old fashioned.
Yeah. Listen, I'm trying to keep it PG-13. And
in
then
the face.
Yeah, in the face, definitely that one.
And the one line when she finds out that she wasn't the one with the prince, it was the sister. She always gets the good ones.
Yeah. No, listen. Like I said, she's great in her role, like, because she makes you believe that whole thing, and just like same thing with Eric LaSalle in his role. It's I don't know. For me, it was a toss up between those two, but like the character that I despise a little bit more would be the Daryl character.
So, like, is it fair to say that when we're voting on this is like the douche of the movie?
Yeah,
it's not necessarily a role you don't want. It's not. It's just somebody that, like, or the peck, from Ghostbusters, the peck of the movie,
yeah,
right?
Like, I don't think
we're calling her Balboa, but whatever. Maybe it's basically that person that you're just like,
I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't
like you. This person did such a great job at being this. Like, obviously, this was the goal, was to make me not like you, and you succeeded.
Yes.
I
Exactly.
don't like you.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So then, yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one. He was definitely a character I did not like in that movie. He had he did have his moments, the scene when he pulls up to McDowell's and Soul Glow's on and he's spritzing it in his hair and he's picking his hair. I was dying at that. He did have those moments, but yeah, no, all in all, or when he goes to see the sister and it's raining out and at the end and she's like, let's get those wet clothes on, and he's got that face on. I'm like, oh, this is happening, huh? We've all had that face, like, oh, this is happening.
It's like, all right, let's do it.
All right.
It's about to go down.
Yeah.
I see. All right, then I guess Daryl. Daryl is the Adrian Balboa of this movie. All right, that concludes the awards on that part. I'm going to take a quick short break, and then we're going to do a little behind the scenes, BTS, we like to call it here. And we got some other interesting topics we'll talk about. All right, and we're back. Time to wrap up this Coming to America. As I said before, we're going to finish with a little BTS behind the scenes. It's a little BTS for you I got here. So all the characters, like we mentioned before, all the characters in the barbershop, including the Jewish man, were played by Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, Clint Smith, and Cuba Gooding Jr. Then here's an interesting fact for you. Remember the homeless men that Eddie Murphy gives the money to as they're going by? Well, those guys, they received the money from Prince Hakeem. They are the Duke brothers, Ralph Bellamy and Don Armici from Trading Places, movies in 1983.
Talking to you.
We're back.
That's right. Yeah, they were also a movie directed by
Wake up,
John Landis.
by John
We're back.
Landis. So, and for McDowell. So here's something very funny, and interesting. So the McDowell's restaurant was actually a Wendy's on Queens Boulevard that was scheduled to be closed for renovation. Let's see. The production corporate headquarters, they had approval from McDonald's corporate headquarters, which apparently didn't pass the word down to the local outlets. On the day the McDowell's sign went up, the manager of the McDowell's 1/2 mile up the road arrived with his lawyer and took photographs, telling the set dressing crew that they were going to be sued for everything they were worth. So, information is not trickled down in most places, seems like. And let's see, the restaurant remained in business until early 2013. The building has since been demolished. That's all I got on my end for BTS. Anyone else got anything they, a little research?
I got a few. Building off the McDowell's thing, guy who actually played Cleo McDowell, John Amos, was also a McDonald's employee.
Oh,
at some point in his life, and he was also.
It does not surprise me.
So he worked himself all the way up.
When he pushed the guy aside and flipped the burgers, I said, "This is not an actor that has no idea what he's doing."
Yeah, no, he knew. Yeah, he
method
had
acting,
but he was also working in the first McDonald's in Canada.
Ooh.
So,
don't you know?
Very nice for him. A couple casting choices that were rumors to be for King Jaffe Joffer. Sidney Poitier.
Just stop. Don't even list any names.
Listen, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying this was someone that was rumored to be in the role.
No, I don't care.
Don't get mad at me. I'm just telling you what it was.
There's one and one only in my mind.
Oh, listen. It's James Earl Jones. That's it. And then I will give you someone else that was someone else that was also rumored for a role for the Lisa role was Vanessa Williams.
I don't hate that.
I like she.
I like
Vanessa Williams.
I
very
like who played the role, but that would be probably on par.
It's not like where you needed to have a ton of acting chops to do what they were doing. Her role was very simple. She wasn't winning an Oscar for this movie, so pretty simple role. And I think Vanessa Williams could have pulled it off.
Oh, without a doubt, she could have.
And one last one I got was the working title of the movie was called The Quest. I don't think it works because it doesn't really set up anything. Like the quest could be anything, you know.
2 snaps down.
Technically, he was on a quest.
I mean, he
but-
was.
Yeah, but I mean that's like especially in the 80s, you think that would be like some computer game, you know?
Yeah.
Like for me, I would have thought it would be like a kung fu movie or something like that.
Yeah, I would have thought it was like somebody got electrocuted and they went into the computer and they had to play the game that they love.
I guess.
And survive.
But hey,
it.
they settled on Coming to America.
Kind of
and
like a
obviously-
Tron.
Yeah,
Obviously
or
that
like the
works.
like the Matthew Broderick movie. I got
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I see. All right. So anything else? I think that might wrap it up for BTS. So I know Brian did a little casting. I guess decide maybe we can change it around or who might be in the movie. Let's go with our love of all, our man crush, The Rock. Can he make this movie better? Should he be added? What do you guys think? I'll throw it to you, Nick. The Rock. You smell what I'm cooking? Can he be added?
I do, but it's not for a role that I think most people would say.
King Joffrey?
No.
Just
He's
went
not
over
that
this.
old.
There's only
yet.
one king, and it's James Earl Jones.
No. Maybe in like 20 years. But for right now, no. No, I would say Daryl, man. I mean, imagine The Rock with a weave, or The Rock when somebody comes with a shotgun hiding behind a garbage pail with two coffees. You know what I'm saying?
He had coffee. Don't judge him.
Right. Like, or the scene with the sister where she's like, let's take those wet clothes off him doing the people's eyebrow. You know what I'm saying? Like
the smoldering lip.
Right. You know, like that. I just think that he could have really, not that I love LaSalle. He did a great job. He really made me hate that character, but I just think that The Rock could have added his rock flair to it, changed the role a little.
Yeah. Okay. I kind of agree with that. Brian, you thinking your man crush
I
can do
could
this?
see it, but for me, like I think he would. If I'm gonna like recast this, I'm gonna put him in that role. I'm gonna put him as Prince Akeem, and then the Arsenio Hall role is gonna be his buddy that we've seen him in a bunch of movies with, is Kevin Hart. I just think that, chemistry those two guys have together in the movies that they have done plays very well to what Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall had in this movie.
Okay,
so I think their closeness as friends makes that movie work.
Okay, so you're telling me if they're going to redo this movie now in 2020 and they're coming from Samoa as The Rock, as the prince there, some sort of area over there, you're going to have him and Kevin Hart as his right-hand man.
Yeah.
And then to love to see them each take on, should we have them be the characters as Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall are, or should we get them back now, have those guys and be those original barbershop characters? How great would that be?
I don't know if The Rock could pull off any other extra characters because he's just a giant of a man.
Yeah, but how funny is it just think of him?
I think I could see him doing the Jewish guy.
Yeah, you think so?
I think so. I think so.
But I could see.
I could see him doing that role because that's
Kevin
really
Hart.
like a neck up role. You don't really have to see too far too far below the shoulders. Yeah, I think he could pull off that voice.
Well, he kind of did in Jumanji. With
Right.
Danny DeVito, yeah.
Exactly.
But I could see Kevin Hart obviously playing a bunch of those characters. But I would, if somehow Eddie Murphy gave his blessing and said, I'm going to come back and play those guys, then sign me up for that. Same thing with Arsenio Hall. Sign me up for those two guys coming back. Playing
same exact premise.
The barbershop guys.
Yep, same exact premise, just from a different
So you have
nation.
them play their roles, and then instead of Clint Smith, you have Kevin Hart play that role, right?
Yeah, I'm
and then
with
you
that.
have The Rock play the old Jewish guy.
So they could all be in the scene in one time.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I could get
right?
that.
Like,
I could get on
play
board
it
with
like that.
I could get on board with that.
I'll tell you what, I would add one person. I think we should bring Jack Black in, because you got me in the Jumanji topic, and put him in the in McDowell's.
To be Louis Anderson's
Yes.
role? Oh.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
I like
Right?
that.
Right?
I like that.
Okay.
I could see like him doing his look with the side gaze and that's when the big bucks come in,
For just a quick scene. Then I think, you know what? I would love to see Randy Watson like being like decrepit now. Just still saying sexual chocolate,
yeah.
still just the same exact scene, singing that same exact song and redoing it all over again. That's just, you know what? That's what I like to see.
You don't want to see him doing a today's hit like WAP?
No. You know what?
A little too much.
I hate to say I have no idea what this WAP is.
Oh my God, it's
The
not
only
worth it.
WAP I know is a derogatory Italian slang. I don't know what this
That's
new
true.
WAP is.
Yeah, you know what? We're not gonna get into it. Never
We'll
gonna bother.
tell you after.
Yeah, that's off the
Okay.
record. So you know
Not
what?
to show my age or that I'm
All
a
right.
dad with 2 kids, but you know.
And moving on, as you said, I know we're trying to do a remake, but should this be a sequel franchise? As I read, and this goes into a little BTS, but supposedly a sequel of Coming to America 2020 was announced in 2019, 31 years after the release of the original. And the 2 part is the number 2. So whether it's going to happen or not, I am not sure.
Thanks,
Oh,
Rona.
it's happening. and where did I see it? Prime Video bought it.
Was it Prime or Hulu?
It was Prime.
Amazon Prime?
Prime bought it.
Okay.
It's just a matter of when it's coming out.
All right, so we'll see when it is, when it's going to be. I wonder how that'll happen. Maybe our little idea of The Rock.
It could
I
be.
mean,
Kevin
they're all
Hart.
releasing.
They all
I just
come back.
heard another movie's getting released on HBO Max the same day it's going in the theater. I forgot which one it was because
Wonder Woman.
yes, 1984. Yep.
Ooh, okay.
Christmas Day.
Yep.
Let's see. All right, so can this be made into a series, like an HBO kind of series? Speaking of HBO Max, Netflix, obviously it's Prime picked it up for a movie. I'm saying no, but you know what? I would like to see.
I think it could be made into a series.
it could
easily.
For
I'm
me.
doing my Shane drunk face.
Yeah.
Ew.
Our buddy Shane, who was like someone like
No.
put shit underneath his nose
But
face.
I think it could be made into a series easily, but if it's in today's version, I just feel like with social media and everything, it's very difficult for like someone coming overseas not having any clue of like what's going on, like that, like how they were so naive to everything that they were doing. Like there's just so much stuff with the internet and everything that you could just
it could
have a general idea of like what stuff.
Yeah, but you know what? With the internet, everything is pretty much all like wrong on there, or like misinformation, and you got to fact check everything, fake news. So you have no idea.
I can argue that, but I don't really want to go through a dissertation on the digital divide and all that stuff. But depending on what part of the world you're in, that might not be a fact. That you get that information.
And they could censorship. They like China.
Right.
But you know what?
Exactly.
Instead of harping on that, we'll see. You know what? You say yes. Nick says no.
I think it could work.
I say no. You know what? Leave it as it is. I'm willing to see Coming to America 2 or Coming to number 2 America when it eventually gets released. And let's go with our final thoughts. Anything else you want to add, delete, change that we have said today, gentlemen? Or is this the end of it? Brian, I'll throw it to you.
Oof. No, I mean, there's just with everything we talked about today, like this movie is great in almost every single way, but the classic quotes that come out of this movie is what I take away from it.
Sexual chocolate.
Yeah, it's just stuff that will, like I said, we use almost on a daily basis, and this movie's over 30 years old. It's crazy that it's something like this still sticks and resonates with today, and especially at least our group of friends where we talk about this stupid shit all the time, but it's great.
It is. Nick, anything else?
Yeah, I'm just simple. It made me laugh. It's a funny movie. You should watch it. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
It's Eddie Murphy in his prime.
Well, we hope
with
they
the
watch
Midas
it.
touch. It's in the prime of his Midas touch, and
Midas touch.
Yeah, I'm telling you, there's actors that have it. Vince Vaughn had it. I mean, we got people that you would never think have the Midas touch, and they get that Midas touch, and everything they touch turns into gold. And you look back on it, and you're like, wow, this is amazing. Like, how did this run even start, let alone continue? And I mean, Eddie Murphy's a comedic genius, so you know how it happened with him, but, I digress.
That's something we'll have to delve into deeper, this Midas touch you say. All right, let's just wrap it up. So we got our final thoughts on there. As I said, I enjoy this movie. I hope you guys enjoy as much as we do, and you bring your quotes into everyday life. So for our next movie we're going to do, we decided to, bring in a little recent times, get out of the 80s. We're going to do The Other Guys, Will Ferrell and Brian.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
That's right. And Nick, who else is one of the guys that star in this movie that we talk about? Who's our man crush on this? You know?
Michael Keaton.
I am Batman.
I mean, these are three guys that all have their own their Midas touch.
That's
I mean,
right.
come on. This is great. This is a movie that's got three of them. I mean, they're not, some of them are way past their prime, and some of them are on the downward arc. And
All right,
Marky Mark might be more of a supporting actor, Midas touch guy, but
Okay, all right. Relax there, buddy. We don't give too much away. We have to wait for the next podcast.
I'm not telling about the movie. I'm just talking about their
I know,
acting
you get a little
careers.
crazy there going on. All right, so the other guys, I hope you guys watch it so you can tune into our next episode and listen to it. And you can find us on the Twitter, the tweet. We are at RB2 Podcast, at RB2 Podcast on the Twitter. And we'll have this episode out on all of...
When you sign an autograph with a bird, it's called a tweet.
You can find us on Spotify, up on Anchor, and anywhere else you can listen to any sort of podcast. And that's it for this movie, Coming to America. Sexual Chocolate. We are out. RB2. Thank you.
I scheduled myself for 2 fucking webinars, WebExes tomorrow at 9.